that should be it. And no doubt my browser will catch up in a few seconds. Can I mute it before it actually does? Or not? What I could do, I suppose, is unplug that cable right there. Oh no, it's already muted.
What I have to do, I have to go find my readers that I had gotten before the show. I will be back in the chair briefly. I should stay on audio as I meander around the house looking for readers.
Okay. Have
They're
readers in
listening for
every
readers.
room. It's the future. I just bought 2 pairs the other day.
Well, the future is LASIK tune-up because I got LASIK done years ago, and it's been wonderful. My overall LASIK, my corrected vision in all aspects is still fucking fantastic, except for reading. I pick up a piece of paper and it's just a blur.
Yeah. Get someone to hold it and walk away. Keep going. Okay, stop.
If I had Elon Musk money, I think it would take that kind of money, almost a trillionaire for me to justify pissing away the money. I would, in the end, hire somebody to do exactly that. Well, we're being funny. We should be funny on the air.
Yeah, we are on the air. You're just not on the camera.
Hey, look at that.
Good evening, everybody. I think there's a couple watching, although that could just be me and random. This is the final live news of 2024. Somewhat festive. There's a blizzard outside my house, and Random's keeping warm in front of a blazing fire. And Scott's keeping warm in front of his remote control cars. RF Warrior is in the chat. Good evening, James. If I could spell evening, I'd type it. There you go. So, yes, you've got the 3 of us. Sparkle may join later. He is still at work at this moment in time. He may join us. He may not. Time will tell. So what have I and then we've been up to since last month? A couple of movies. We were talking about Threads last month, so I felt like the odd one out. Felt like the red-headed stepchild, so I watched Threads during the meanwhilest. It was good. It reminded me almost like of a public service announcement type film. It's kind of shot that way and scripted that way, but yeah, good movie. If you were
Almost
talking,
like
then
something
Scott,
they would have shown in
yes.
school as a special, right?
Yes, yeah, pretty much. It reminded me very much of that type of film. I watched a horror movie called Maxine, which I didn't realise was the third in a trilogy. I've already watched the first, just called X, where a bunch of teenagers hire a barn in the middle of nowhere and go out and make their own porno. And then the couple who live there start hacking and slashing away at them. Maxine is spelled MAXXINE.
Screw it over my couch.
What y'all kids doing in here? Maxine is the third in the series. Not great. Don't waste your time. Couple of series. People Just Do Nothing. I finally watched that. It's a few years old now. I don't think it would translate that well to America. It's about pirate radio, which may translate to some of you out there, but it's kind of like, they're playing garage music and rapping over the top of it and broadcasting it out locally, but it's a comedy and just got some great characters in it, but it may translate, it may not, but great show anyway. 5 seasons
brilliant.
of it. Have you seen it, Random?
Probably been through it about 4 times now.
Right, okay. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And when it had finished, it's one of those, I was disappointed when it had finished. I felt like, I've just lost a load of friends now. You kind of getting to know the characters and what have you.
Yeah.
Really good show.
I was watching this series.
Yeah. Finished Day of the Jackal.
Don't ever talk to me again.
Enjoyed Day of the Jackal. Finished that, I think, last week. Watched The Penguin over 2 or 3 nights last week as well. That was really good. It's just puzzling why they got Colin Farrell and then made him not like Colin Farrell. That was that was the biggest puzzle. But great show.
You know what?
though.
There's been a lot of movies like that where they've taken people that, I think it kind of started when they had, that one model playing a female serial killer that was in prison, and they uglied her up. And like, the thing is, she actually did a good job at it. Like, she was really good at acting, as that. And of course, like there's Brandon Fraser in The Whale, where he was, completely made up to be, way, way huge, But no, I mean, it is a curiosity, but I have to admit it's a curiosity that has some utility, because I think Colin Farrell made a damn good showing as the Penguin,
Yeah, he was excellent in it, just not like Colin Farrell at all, visually or...
Which is probably good, because he's really annoying in person.
I don't mind him, but...
I just can't stand... First of all, it's that goofy look of his, and then he always looks like he's going to, like, say, what, you actually saying? Like, he's like he's trying to start an argument by looking at you. But, No, I have to say I think he's done a spectacular job. That the Penguins was a great series.
Indeed, and the last one I'm still sort of halfway through. It's okay, it's not great, but Black Doves, people are raving about it. I think it's all right. It's not fantastic, not worth the rave reviews people are giving it, but yeah, maybe worth a watch. And there's a couple of news items coming up, but I just made a note about this because we've kind of discussed these numbers before. So there's a couple of news items. I think, was it maybe Random sent one in and then I found another. There's a YouTube channel and they interview people from the computing industry and pull in some, old video game guys. And someone sent in, I think, the Nolan Bushnell one. So I listened to that. It's about an hour and a half interview. Nothing going on. It's on YouTube, but he's just sat on camera. So I just ripped the audio and listened to it as a podcast. But they also did an interview with Ted Dabney. So I listened to that one as well. And one of them, and I can't remember who now because it's like 3 weeks ago since I listened, but one of them mentioned the numbers that Computer Space sold at. And at the time they were saying 10 million... sales in CoinOp was, a rave success, and they were saying around 2.5 million Computer Spaces got sold. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's their number.
Not remotely.
No.
Now, if they mean $2.5 million in income from Computer Space, possibly. But no, those numbers, I think, I did not hear the broadcast. I don't know, it may be just, it may be a simple error as they meant dollars in sales. That may have been exactly what they said. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe say a killer pinball machine would have a production number of maybe like 3,000, 4,000 made. So it's in the mid thousands is what you would see for physical
numbers.
hardware. Computer Space, Computer Space pretty certain was in the hundreds.
Yeah.
But
it makes sense to be dollars, dollar value, but that was the number they put on it. So maybe 25% of, a big coin up at the era. But if you go to the show notes page, and all the links we mentioned tonight will be in the show notes, and you'll find a link to both of those interviews. Definitely worth a watch/listen. They are just sat there on camera. I'd never seen video of Ted before, I don't think, but so I watched some of it on video, then again ripped the audio and took it on the phone and listened to it in the car kind of thing. But interesting to listen to it anyway. And that, I think, is about it. Now, a couple of things just to mention. I mean, it's way too early to put on the radar, perhaps, but Play Blackpool have announced their next expo next October. Like, we're not even in the same year yet. What the hell?
Well, okay, I'll tell you why. Because they're not fuck-ups trying to sabotage their own expo. That's what you do. You let people... The second the thing is cooled in the mold and people are back home and you know that they, had a good time, that's when you jump on. Next year, we're ready to go. So there's, what you don't do is turn off the website, lock it down so people don't have discussions and get confused and accidentally show up in Vegas unsolicited.
Oh, look, there's an expo on.
Well, we turned up for the expo and there was none here. We're very upset.
So just for reference, it is October again, first weekend in October, the 4th and 5th. So mark your calendars. And also a show not too far from me. It certainly wouldn't be worth a transatlantic trip, but we've talked about the video game markets before, organised by the same Play people. There's one in Bolton, which is about 15 minutes from me. So that's March 25th. So we've had some loose discussion in a WhatsApp group about maybe people coming up for the weekend. We'll do, maybe the Computer Museum in the morning or something on the Saturday, then Arcade Club for the afternoon and the night, stay over in Bury, and then call in the Bolton video game market on the Sunday on the way home. So there's some loose plans around that. We will keep you posted. And that is me for the month.
Well, that sounds like a good plan, man. I mean, I wish I was able to pop over just for something like that, because that sounds like a damn good weekend.
Mm-hmm.
A little less hectic than, say, Play, but
Yeah.
My absolute plan is to make Play. It's my absolute favorite expo these days, since CG is gone and buried 10 years now. So Play Blackpool it is. It's really a good time, man. I mean, I can't, like, our American listeners, guys, get on the damn plane. These days, with ticket prices being what they are, it costs as much to fly to freaking, Beaumont, Oregon for the Timber Festival as it does to go to England these days. It's about, $800 either way. So just get off your ass, pop over to England, go to Play Blackpool, see Urban Decay, and have a good time, checking out something. Mike, look, I've been there, you've been there, random, all of us. Like, is it not, like, incredibly accessible? Like, if you got off the plane and just, like, you've never been to England before, whatever, who cares, and you go rolling up to Play Blackpool, you're going to be welcomed, and you're going to have a great freaking time. You're not going to feel like an outsider at all. You're going to feel like, like you absolutely belong there. So I hope people do that. So, I've been up to, like, all kinds of stuff, mainly just getting ready for Christmas. So got the tree set up with all the animated ornaments with the sculptures in them that I've been working on. Made some progress here and there, working on, fixing some of those ornaments, where basically it's like a sculpted mechanism. So it might be like penguins skiing over ice, or people ice skating, or a sleigh going on through a snow avenue or something, or people bringing a Christmas tree into a building, whatever. And they have a little DC motor that drives the sculpture so it moves. And it's all sealed up by design. And then these motors are basically the same ones they used in the little battery-powered, cars, not even RC, just, the ones that are designed to last maybe about 6 batteries, and then they were dead. So the problem is the copper on copper brushes and commutators in the motors have a ultra short lifespan. So that sucks. But, I've gotten better opening some of them, and of course, not leaving them on, just turn them on, every now and then, and preserve their lifespan. But got that done. Decided I had to change up my Christmas train plans a bit. What I had traditionally done is I had an N-scale layout that I had built. And it's basically like a World War II Christmas village scene. So it's like, a town. It's got like a, staging areas with military vehicles lined up, but like, the town is decorated. It's really cool. And it just, my prior Maine Coon, Fuzz, would generally ignore it. And Azov is just going to Godzilla, my new Maine Coon. He's just going to Godzilla the thing. So not like destructively, just he doesn't have any barriers against walking across it. So anyway, I couldn't put that N-scale layout down there. It would just get walked over. So, you got like a 30-pound cat just stomping over shit. It's done for. So I went ahead and I went a different direction. So I picked up a Lionel train. And it's funny because I had looked at Hornby, the British brand. I looked at Markland, and because it's all made in China these days.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, nobody had anything really better than Lionel. And I actually had to kind of go back in time a bit, because the new stuff, first of all, they upped the price big time. And I have a problem. Like, if something was like, let's say it was like, $400 5 years ago, and now it's $700. And what did they add to it to make it better, justify the price increase? Oh, we put in a USB dongle that in a, 4-bit, 2 kilohertz sample has a completely fucked up version of Tom Hanks saying, all aboard. No, fuck off, Oh, and by the way, the train's shittier because they made it cheaper. So I found a new in the box Polar Express from 2004 on eBay that had a traditional DC, like a traditional transformer. There was no funny business. It just worked, right? So, that was really cool. And I gotta tell you guys, 3D printing. I've
Just
been
before
doing
you
that for a
move
very
off
long
the
time.
Christmas toy stuff, I meant to tell you that a while ago, I think it was Tricky X posted in Discord. He'd picked up like 4 of those little Christmas scenes. Not seeing what he's going to do with them, but I think he's thinking along the same lines as yourself. It's in our Discord anyway.
Oh yeah, you gotta make sure you get. I mean, if you plug them in, they don't work. You can tap them, and often that actually like shocks the mechanism to working. And then once it has some momentum, it kind of, blows off the dead lubricant that's turned into. A lot of times, like the lube on there actually turns into a little gel brake that the motor can't, go free from. So literally gumming up the works. But you got to take them apart sometimes. So good luck with that, Tricky. So train scenery has also become offensively expensive, and I get why. It is a fortune to create, injection molds to do a product, right? So these guys, they got to make like say a water tower or a train station, and then how many are you going to sell? Model railroading is popular, but not that popular. So it comes down to the sheer cost of production. And then everybody, the little train shops have to have their markup and all. So what you arrive at, though, is a freaking little train station is now $100. A water tower is $80. And for a little plastic house. I mean, no, it's stupid. So I combed through Thingiverse and I combed through printables and all. And I got some neat stuff. Let me grab it real quick since we're here. I have printed up. I got one here I actually haven't painted yet. So I can show you exactly what it looks like. Now, this thing, $68 plus shipping, so $80 to your door for the water towers that hold the water for the steam engines. Mm-hmm. So I printed one for about $1.60. So 3D printing is great. So the first component is, here we go, the stand. And that's like the base. I did that in resin in this particular model because it just showed off the arches and made it look better. This is the actual tank. This is yet to be painted. And then there is the water spout that goes on the bottom of it thusly. And that gives you your water. And then the roof, which I think I'm just going to leave exactly as it is because it looks like a hammered steel roof. But you basically got that set up, and then the water spout sticking out. So that cost me under $2 to produce for something that is now $80, if you order it, which is just stupid. Oh, and then I just went on the web and I did the first search for, Christmas banner, 1933 or whatever. And came up with just these images that I just printed right out of DuckDuckGo image search. And I've got some light twine that I'm going to set up like as cords, like how they used to hang the Christmas banners from the train sign, from the train things. So, and that was free 99. So yeah, for $2, I'm able to create just a beautiful accessory piece for my Christmas train. Makes it a hell of a lot more enjoyable and accessible. I mean, who wants to go out and spend like $800 on basic scenery around tracks? It's absurd. So did that. Gaming wise, introduced some people to the wonders of the Raspberry Pi with RetroPie on it, and a couple of young folks putting together consoles that they didn't know this was a thing. bought another motorcycle. I bring it up only because I never thought I would buy a Harley Davidson again. But, you know, I know James here, he's a motorcyclist and all. I had the worst experience with Indian. When I started buying Indians 8 years ago, and they were easy to work with. They were a good company, good, you know, the product, the engineering's excellent. I will say now they're 20 years ahead of Harley, but they went from a company that like handled their business to a company that you don't want to do business with. Like I literally had like the tail lights locked on, so my brake lights were already applied, right? So yeah, thing's still under warranty. It's, you know, let them deal with it, right? I know how to work on shit. I got 3 cars I'm building. I got, you know, all sorts of stuff. So not my problem. So I drop it off. 3 months later, they broke the ABS. They broke the traction control, had not fixed the tail lights, and now the bike doesn't even start. And, you know, they don't give a fuck. That's the only way to put it. You know, I contacted Indian Corporate and said, look, this dealership, you know, what the hell? And they actually said, like, I can read the whole thing back here. This is no bullshit. Like, you know, Indian Corporate was like, oh, yeah, that dealership is, we hear about them all the time. They're on our radar. And then it came down to when I asked them to do something, it became, well, they're independent. We can't really do anything. I'm like, so basically, the only person that isn't okay with this bike not being fixed after 3 months over fucking taillights is me. Yeah. You're cool with it, and the dealership is cool with it, right? So here's what I do. Fuck you. So I go buy a Harley. And I didn't think I ever would. It's an inferior bike and a lot. I mean, it's not like it doesn't. It actually works, whereas, you know, the other one doesn't. But
is Indian telephone support in America? You phone them up, it's like, actually, hi.
Well, they completely shit the bed. And it's not, I mean, look, it's a module. It's probably made by Bosch or, you know, whoever. Designed in Germany, produced in Mexico, whatever.
Lucas.
They buy them by the pallet. This, yeah, well, the same module is probably on Yamaha. It's, you know, it's a, you know, they didn't make the damn thing. It's how they handled everything when it failed. You know, they just did not care if that bike ever was back on the road again. And the shit that they were doing is like a part would come in that Indian Corporate told them to order as the next step. It wasn't the problem. It induced new problems. And then they're like, well, that was our hour we scheduled for it today. Our next appointment's in 3 weeks. So we'll try again then. I'm like, the fuck you say? So, yeah, that was fun. But I did want to give Indian a good fuck you for Christmas. So, you know, on the platform I have, I'll do that. So, yeah, all they had to do was be better than Harley Davidson. They couldn't do that. Yeah, other than that, man, just working on the robot stuff. I've got some really cool updates. I'm going to do a sort of preview for this month's Hardware Flashback. And next year, we're diving into it. We're going to be restoring some really cool robots. I've gotten a lot done on reproducing the Topo 2 base stations. So just some great developments on that. We're going to be talking about that. Looking forward to doing Christmas. Oh, just as a positive treat for y'all, if you want to enjoy some good Christmas music, there's a band. They're out of Spain called Broken Peach. I thought they were one of those Korean K-pop bands at first, and they pop up everywhere on YouTube. But they're actually Spanish, and they're extremely talented. They sound kind of like a mix of like ABBA, the Andrews Sisters, but in a modern rock and roll format, if that makes sense. It's they just do really damn good Christmas music. All you gotta do is pop on Rumble or YouTube and just search Broken Peach, you know, Christmas, you'll find all their stuff. And they're just a great, you know, really, really good female vocals, kind of like ABBA, you know, kind of like Andrews Sisters. But they do just beautiful Christmas music. They are doing a live concert on YouTube on Sunday, 10 p.m. Spanish time, so which means they'll probably start around 1 a.m. So check it out. It's on YouTube. If you go to if you go to Broken Peach's channel, and then you click on like videos, you'll see the most recent one where they announce it, so you can find it there. But be something nice to put on to just enjoy the season. So that's all I got.
All right. I've had a busy month, work and migraines and other shit. So I've not played a great deal, but so I did have to go to London for a day. That was a train journey, so decided for that to actually finally start playing Wario Land 3, which I think was the last Wario Land game I'd not played. Didn't like it to start with.
Is that the GBA one?
No, that's 4.
Yeah.
So 3 is like, it almost feels almost like a single screen puzzle platformer. It's slightly larger than single screen, but not a great deal. So that I was kind of a bit underwhelmed by it. And then it's got a weird mechanic.
Wait till you
with
get to number 4 then.
Oh, 4 I thought was alright.
That's
I really
the
enjoyed
GBA
4,
one, isn't it? That was hellishly
Yeah.
short. I got to the end of it and I thought, maybe I've unlocked something now, and it's like, no, that was it.
Oh, it didn't take long to play, but I like the mechanic of like you get through to the end and then it adds the timer, and then you've got like different abilities and different routes back through the level in a rush. But yeah, this you end up having to revisit the levels as you sort of gain more and more powers that allow you to go to different parts of the levels. Oh, excuse me, I find different treasures that are there, and I ended up sort of warming to it. But it's definitely the weaker of them, I think, but still probably better than 6 golden coins. Yeah, man.
Wow.
Tried to get back into Majora's Mask. That lasted about an hour's session, and then got sidetracked, partly by the new Pokemon card game mobile app, where they've streamlined it down a bit to like less cards in your hand, and you're only playing 3 cards on the bench rather than 5. And it's been quite an interesting change to the shake up of the format. It makes the games a lot quicker, and certainly, well, it's been, I don't know how long. It's been at least a month that it's been out. I've not had to spend any money, and I've got nearly all of the first set of cards. Making my way through the new expansion pack that just came out. You plenty to do CPU battle wise or online battle wise. Yeah, no need to spend any money. Quite a bit of content. Quite good. No, even if you're not a fan of Pokemon, the general. I mean, well, it feels the card selection they've given it at the moment is it can be a little bit unbalanced, but in general, it's quite a good card game. And then the last week, I've been playing the new Indiana Jones game, which has been pretty good, I would say.
Did you pay 89 quid for it?
I did not. I play it as part of my Game Pass subscription, which I think I can't remember what I paid, but I buy that as an annual subscription from the internal Microsoft store, so I get employee discount.
Yeah, I posted a link in, I think it was our Steam Deck WhatsApp, and the game was for sale on Steam, and one of the prices, without any sort of passes or anything, was, I think it might have been £86. I might be doing it an injustice. 86
No.
quid for a fucking video game.
Won't do it.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, nuts. Get yourself a £1, introductory subscription to Game Pass, and then and then just play it for £1 for a month, and
Crazy.
maybe if you like it, spend another £10 for another month.
That is just offensively stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game though. It felt a bit like I was getting sort of PS2 360 sort of era vibes in terms of like, you know, there's like stealth mechanics of going up behind people and stealth takedowns, but you know, they can be stood next to another guy, and even though you're hitting him over the head with a guitar that makes a massive, great twang when you do it, the other guy's completely unaware, and it's brilliant. It's like the perfect thing you want. Before they went, we've got all this power, let's make it more realistic and all this lot, and it just gets in the way of having fun. This is just pure like, no, it's pretty basic, you know, go in, hit them with things. If it goes wrong, you can still punch your way out of it, and that's good. And then the money that's been spent on it, you know, it's not been to sort of pad it out needlessly. You can see they've put the money in, you know, go into the effort of you know, making sure the presentation's good, and the, you know, like the cutscenes are well done, but they're not too long. Troy Baker's impression of young Harrison Ford is pretty much spot on the whole way through. There's some cracking dialogue like in cutscenes that I've laughed, you know, in situations that I've genuinely laughed at. And it all does feel very authentically Indiana Jones, at least, well, you know, pre-modern Indiana Jones, we'll say. So yeah, that's good, well worth playing if you can. And then I also was working on started working on a James and Watch project, which I will keep under wraps until
even from your co-hosts. You can tell us
through it. Maybe I'll even wait as long as Blackpool, and people will have to come and see it at Blackpool. But
wow. Write more than one line of code a day.
I loaded up the code for the ARM, the first one, and I had to recompile it for something, and I just looked at it. I was like, I have no fucking idea what any of this is anymore. Like, I have no idea how this compile. Like, what's the make file I'm using? What have I done? And like, I could, you know, it was all set up to just go for I think it was set up to go for the PSP of all platforms, out the box from where I'd got the files, and I was just like, what? Oh Christ, I've been away from this for too long. But yes, that'll be a fun project.
Spinal says, make a real James and Watch using an Arduino or something.
Yes, or something.
Moving
swiftly on.
Balsa wood.
Yes. No, we've done that. I've got CAD manufacturing facilities now. So yeah, and then pickups.
Teak.
There's a. You know, we like artists, musicians that are in the scene. There's a guy who was sort of prominent, like Dreamcast sort of fan, but then he's also now been guesting a lot and hosting on the Dreamcast Junkyard podcast. But he's called Pizza Hotline, and he makes like PS1, PS2, Dreamcast style era drum and bass, like very sort of liquid and nice, sort of off, sometimes going into ambient. But I decided I'd throw him some money and buy some of his albums rather than just listening to them for free. And he offers, you know, physical editions, as they do, and a lot of it's CDs and stuff. And he was just about to do a new run of like PAL style, PlayStation PAL style CDs, but I didn't want CDs, so I picked up a couple of the cassette tape releases that he's done, which come with nice little printed artworked cassettes and everything.
Do they come with a cassette player?
No. And then one of them, there was still some left of one of them that's in a Mega Drive case. It's a cassette inside.
That's cool.
But it's got like Genesis start the. Whoop.
Smashed it.
That's better. Yes, it's Mega Drive style.
This Genesis in it.
Looks like you've just thrown it on the fire.
And the cassette, all very nice, and sort of synthwave, vaporwave, sort of 80. You know, well, I say 80s. It's like what classes today as, you know, they go, this is an 80s bedroom, and it's like all the neon green and purple and stuff, and then, you know, you see the picture of like, no, this is actually someone's 80s bedroom, and it's very, very different. But yeah, so they're quite nice little things to put on the shelf. Maybe I'll pick up another cassette player if I stumble across one, but probably not. I'll just whack the digital downloads on my one of my many iPods or something. But yeah, that is me for the month, I think.
Alrighty, just before we jump into some news, then.
Before we jump into the news, real quick, I forgot to ask: are either of you guys watching Silo?
No,
Nah, never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but not watched it.
Okay, I'm surprised that you haven't heard of it. Check it out. Here's the premise, okay? Now, I have not read the books. It's kind of like Game of Thrones, right? Imagine if you had seen the first, 4 episodes or whatever of Game of Thrones, and you're trying to explain it to somebody who's read the books. They're like, no, yeah, okay, ease the fuck up. I'm just trying to tell you the premise. So, the premise is this, or what's been disclosed on the show so far. There are these people living in this silo, right? So basically, it's this underground shelter. There's like a single airlock that leads to the outdoors, and there's a camera, and the outdoors is just wasteland, and so there's either nukes or nanites or whatever the hell, and so they blew up all the cities. You can see the ruins of Atlanta and all, and they do go into all this in the book and all that. But anyway, the human survivors are living in this silo, right? So you've got different sections. It's kind of a little bit like Snowpiercer. It's divided by
sounds like a Fallout vault.
Job. It's not that dissimilar, man. It's really funny that Fallout and Silo came out at the same time, because I'm telling you, if they had hung some Fallout posters in Silo, you would not have known that it wasn't the Fallout series. Now the book set exists independently. There's no crossover I know of in inspiration, but guys, it's really good. I mean, it's just really, really, really good. So anyway, this one girl, I guess the way that you get kicked out of the vault and killed is if you say you want to leave, so that's, it's all engineered to tamp down on human, instincts, whatever. So, there's kind of suggestions that literally people engineered, the end of the world essentially to, wipe the slate, raise humans in silos to be subservient, drones. And then after the earth was inhabitable again, they'd pop out and then they'd have this drone army to work for them. Seems a bit, the CCP did it for way less, but they go through this whole thing, and this girl just says figures out there's some bullshit or whatever and says, hey, I want out. And so the idea is they put them in this suit. They're allowed to go outside, and then they're supposed to clean the lens on the camera that gets dirty over the decades before the next person gets kicked out. So they, she pops out there, and then it shows her in this barren wasteland, right? And then she goes walking over this hill, and she finds another silo, and now we're into season 2, and there's some dude that's still alive in that silo, and that's kind of where it's at. But so now there's multiple silos, and that ties into the clearly known lore and legend of this book series, that there's always all these multiple silos, and there's one master silo that runs the whole thing. And those people are in suspended animation, and they wake up every couple of years to control the other silos. I mean, I haven't read the books, guys, so I'm not trying to pretend I have, but it's got a high production value, good actors. I would strongly suggest it. I think particularly my co-host here would enjoy it. But yeah, give it a download, check it out, see what you think.
Will do. Got a ton of shit to get through, but I'll add it to the list.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of stuff coming out at the moment. Just a quick show and tell. So at Crash Live last month, Paul Jenkinson was there doing a live Spectrum show with Jeff Neal, and he was good enough to donate to me a Spectrum show calendar for 2025. It's a desk calendar, and just show you some of the pages there. I presume you can contact him through YouTube or whatever. You'll certainly find him and can purchase them. It's a nice little product, so thank you, Paul, for that. If you don't watch the Spectrum show, check it out. It's a half-hour-ish show every month on YouTube. So go and show him some love and pick yourself up a calendar while you're at it. I was going to say one more thing, and now I've completely forgotten. But, oh yes, just before we get into news, Little Ben WhatsApp. We've got various WhatsApp groups. I'm in a couple with Little Ben. His daughter turned 1, so happy birthday to little Emilia.
Oh wow, man!
Absolutely. Right. Oh, yeah, and she's got some neat, like, plushy Pokemons and stuff. He sent a picture of all the presents laid out. There's like a lot of Pokemon stuff there. Maybe he's indulging her in his Pokemon obsession, but anyway.
Yeah, maybe they're less of a presence and
yeah. It's kind of like, oh, did I mention, I think? I might have mentioned it. Maybe not, but since last show, Paula's youngest daughter had a baby as well. She's had a little boy, so I'm already down. I'm going to buying him his first Scale X-Trick, so looking forward to that. So I'll be doing exactly the same thing.
Done.
Yeah. So, yeah, good times ahead. So at the end of the top 10, which you people recorded without me, I did a little bit where I talked about what my 4 picks were, seeing as you didn't mention them. And
I had it there in front of me and just completely like we're all just like, right, yep, time's getting on.
It's nothing nefarious.
Say again?
Yeah, it's nothing nefarious. We just couldn't be bothered.
Well, that's fair enough.
It's nothing nefarious. We just couldn't be bothered.
You snooze, you
I
lose.
appreciate your honesty. So some of mine were kind of tied into the PS1 memory cards in particular. And as I was talking, I thought, like, you'll hear me in the audio, like, it's 30 years ago. And one of the news items here, I believe, sent in by David Gyrick. It's a PlayStation history site. And they just celebrated the 30th anniversary of the PlayStation. It came out in 94. It's just like, where has those 30 years gone? It seems like no time since, I was
Right down the shitter.
playing, Gran Turismo, Colin McRae, Metal Gear Solid, just that era of games. It's 30 years. I mean, Jesus Christ. Come on. Must be old as fuck.
I love Colin McRae Rally. That was fucking awesome. But yeah, it is funny how like I logged in and I logged into my PS5 to play Fallout the other day, and what greets me? You have the anniversary of PlayStation, and they had like this special wallpaper or whatever, and a theme for the PlayStation for like the kind of a PS1 theme. Well, they had, to be fair, they had a PS1, a PS2, and PS3 theme. It was really kind of neat to see that they did that. I mean, there's no gameplay, and they didn't release free games at all. But even just a little visual acknowledgement of their history was, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One I sent in just at the end of like last month's news. Just missed out that. We'd been talking a lot about various video game preservation things that had happened around archive.org, and this was one that someone had collated a load of the exclusive to Japan Donkey Kong rubber figurines that had come out back in the day, and they 3D scanned them all and then released them up as a big archive on archive.org so that people can download them and make their own replica figurines. So yeah, it was just a nice little additional bit. So if you like your Donkey, it's like Donkey Kong Country style. So if you like that style of Donkey Kong, I will add that disclaimer. They are all on there.
So somebody is fucking around this month because I sent one in here. And it was, when did I send this in? 27th of November. The PS2 officially surpasses 160 million sales, retaining its best-selling console. Then just yesterday, David Gyrick sent one in, saying Nintendo Switch has outsold the PS2 in the US. So I think they're just playing a bit of tit for tat. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, was
a
the
pissing
PS2
contest.
won the
That's great.
worldwide sales?
It was. Well, 160 million, I'm guessing, is worldwide.
Yeah, it must be worldwide. Because, the Switch one was just the North
US.
American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're having a bit of a pissing contest anyway at the moment.
Yeah, it does seem that way. There's all like there's PlayStation being like, yeah, the PlayStation 5 Pro's like being our fastest selling model of PlayStation so far, and then Nintendo were like, we've already got like we've already sold basically sold 5 million Switch 2s, even though we refused to announce it until. Well, there's lots of leaks saying it's going to be announced around CES week, from the sounds of things. But yeah,
wait, Switch 2 sold? What? Back up and the Switch 2 already sold? What?
Well, it's not sold, but they're essentially doing their projections, and they're saying basically it's already
it's a done deal.
We know based on what the sort of the hype of it and what probably retailers are ordering. They're saying it's already going to be the biggest, fastest selling thing ever, which implies they've actually made more than 3 of them this time. So.
Nintendo ruining.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
well, considering there's been rumors of it for like the last 2 years. Is Nintendo going to do this
shit again?
Maybe they've just been making it for 2 years.
Are they going to do this shit again where they hype this shit?
I think so.
Yes, I wonder if it's the other way. If I think what they're doing is they're generating a hype, and then it comes to and it releases on Monday, and we made 6 of them. I mean, I don't trust them anymore. The only time I noticed they had no problem at all producing the Wii U in massive quantities.
Yeah, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't. Spinal in chat just says, am I the only one who sees no sense in the Switch 2? No, you're not. I don't even like the Switch 1. But no. It depends how different it is, I guess.
I don't have... my Switch... My Switch 1 is sitting there, and as I've said many times, the only thing it collects is dust. I played both Zeldas, the Mario... and like 1 or 2 other games, and that's all that's come out for it that I care about. Compare that to the Wii, which like was massive. I mean, dude, I had dozens of games in the Wii that I played on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. There was a unending, just wealth of great games for that system, right? Something's changed. Maybe it's just the time and the games of the day or whatever. Because you got to remember, it's been, we're coming up on 20 years of, since the Wii. So, okay, children have, been born and gone to college since then. So it's not like no small amount of time has passed, although it really doesn't seem like it, as we were saying. But I just don't, I don't know, man. I mean, there's for the Switch, I have no problem with the hardware other than I don't think I've ever used the screen. I don't think I've ever once played a game looking at the screen other than the first time I said, wow, you can't see shit on this. And then I never did it again. So
you can't see anything, and why it doesn't have Netflix.
Another Nintendo console. I mean, it's also pointless. So how about maybe come out with some games for the one you got? I mean, just saying. I don't think a serious slate of games has ever been released, and this is true of. I will say this about the PS5 and the PS and the Switch. And the reason I say this is when the like say during the Wii game days, it seemed like every other week there was a great game coming out for it. Just wonderful stuff. Same thing with the PS3, PS4. Man, I was buying games every 4 weeks. I was buying a new game that was amazing. Had huge libraries, dude. I got boxes of fucking PS3, PS4 games out there. Wonderful era. My PS5, since I've had it, I bought fuck all for it. I mean, there's nothing to buy each month. It's like, is there a new game? No. All right, next, no new stuff. And the same thing is actually true about the Switch. Like I said, I've got it. It's right there, but I can't. There's nothing there for me to buy. I don't think my taste in gaming changed to where suddenly I feel there's nothing on the market. When just a generation ago, in the case of the PlayStation, 2 generations ago in the case of the Nintendo, there was everything to buy. So, yeah, here I am buying these consoles, and there's no fucking games for them. So, I don't know, man. I'm not not in love with the way things are going. But
Spinal
maybe there's
just
a bright star on the horizon, gentlemen.
Yeah, Spinal says
have
they should
received-
call it the Switch U and sell none of them.
Yeah.
I'm
would be the way
not
to
a
go.
fan of the Switch. I
Yeah,
don't
okay,
like the hardware of the Switch.
but,
I've
guys,
played
there
them.
is-
Certainly handheld, with the controllers on the side of the screen. To me, it feels like a cheap, nasty little toy. Now, plugging it into a TV and using a Pro controller changes that somewhat, but I'm just not interested, in the games that it's got on it. But playing it with the funky little controllers, the Joy-Cons, it feels like the cheapest, nastiest kid's toy.
I will agree that the Joy-Cons are dog shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's why when I've got the plan is that I will get a Switch 2 because I do like a lot of the games on it, and then what that will should allow me to do is transfer all my stuff to that. That can sit under the living room TV and basically Amber will hog it, and then I've got a controller dock to put the old Switch into, which has got much better controls on it, and then I can use that to sort of sit and play through a bunch of the backlog I've been building up on there. So that's my plan anyway.
So Uno99 in chat is loving his Switch. He says there's loads of games on it, just many great RPGs which he's playing. And Uno99 has listened for many years, but never caught us live till tonight. So welcome.
Well, I'm glad he did. I'll address this point respectfully. I'll address that point here in a second. But let's talk about a potential bright spot on the horizon here, though. I did receive, boys and girls, a winter holiday update from Amico Entertainment. Did you guys get this update?
Yes.
I did not.
All right, okay. So, happy holidays and good cheer. We have some exciting news to share about Amico Home and other Amico updates. Amico Home. So, Amico Home they're delighted to announce it for iPhone and iPad users. And it has 5 games available. So you can play Amico Astro Smash, Amico Cornhole, Missile Command, Rigid Force, and Shark. So, let's see here.
It sounds less like
Yeah,
Amico
I guess you
Home
could
than
download
Amico
this for
Mobile.
the iPad. Well, here's the Amico Controller app. The Amico Controller app has been available for the iOS since the debut of Amico Home for Android and has received updates to both platforms. Rigid Force Redux is available. Let's see here. New boxed single edition. Yeah, what are you going to do with it? And what's next on Amico Home? New games. Finnegan Fox is coming. Evil Knievel. These look like the lowest tier of mobile games I've
The
ever
Flash
seen in my
games, and they're already available.
The Amico hardware controller. Over the summer, we made I want to read this statement. Let's take this in for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Over the summer, we made substantial progress on support for our hardware. Our hardware Bluetooth Amico controller for Amico Home for Android. Now we have shipped Amico Home on iOS. We'll resume work. We will resume work on support for Amico hardware controllers in the new year. So keep in mind, Tallarico lost his ass, sold his home, moved out of, the company collapsed. All this is over with. It's done. It's no more. Other than just a few. I mean, the server, we know where the server went. We know whose closet it's in. The offices were shut down. It's all over with. So somebody out there is generating, and it says right here, it has the trademarks and stuff, but somebody out there is actually generating this crap, and there isn't. I mean, clearly they're not trying to make a console anymore. They've just bailed on that. So if you bought the Founders Day console, the only thing that happened is you gave money to these people. and I'm speaking of myself.
I got an email in
Yeah,
return.
that's just fucking awful.
Are they still?
Yeah. So now they're gonna. Well, guys.
So are they still putting this shit out as in television? Because didn't Atari buy the Intellivision brand like
Oh.
earlier this year or something?
Yeah, they're putting it out there as Amico Entertainment.
It's come from,
This
yeah.
is
So
like-
the,
you
the
guys
line is
remember when
Amico
the,
Entertainment. The email address is AmicoGaming.com.
You guys remember when the
Okay.
the whole Coleco thing went down, and they continued right the fuck ahead with Chameleon product for about an hour, and Kennedy was calling it the Chameleon product. This reminds me of that. There's nothing. It's over. Yet they're still churning. Oh, guys, they're spinning plates and fucking juggling pins, trying to entertain the crowd. I mean, it's over. Pack your shit up and go home with some semblance of dignity.
I mean, even the name Amico Home, it's a mobile app that you play the games on, and you connect other mobile devices to it to work as controllers. That's Amico Mobile. That's not Amico Home. Amico Home
Oh, yeah.
would be a fucking console you plug into your TV. But then there's no way that's coming. I mean, these games, like the Evil Knievel game, has been around for about, it must be 10 years now. It's a flash game, you know, at best. These aren't great games. You know, the Cornhole game, well, you know, we talked it up a little bit at the time when it was first announced. It could have been like the new Wii Sports, the new Wii Bowling or something like that. But the controls were so dicked up on the hardware, and now there is no hardware. I mean, it's a flash game at best. It's just stupid. Just stop it. Please, just stop it. You know what I mean? I mean, are there any fanboys still out there? I'm not seeing anything, you know, on YouTube, like you saw with the Chameleon. Some of the big YouTubers were the fanboys for the Chameleon. Oh, it's coming, don't worry. And I'm just not seeing that for this. I think everyone's just fucking pissed off with it, aren't they?
You're all going to be so silly when this thing ships.
It's like they've not realised that the
I'll be
Super
laughing
Sega's
at all
taken
of
over
you.
as the new scam.
Yeah.
Like everyone's focusing on the Super Sega
Sega,
Super Sega
yeah.
stuff at the moment. Like that's it. It's over. Just disappear.
Guys, the Super Sega's hot right now. Let's send another email. Jesus Christ.
Wow, the nerds are going to be blown away when this shows up.
So
I hate
we've had
them
the last
all
couple of
so
months. We've
much.
had articles about, you know, oh, we've seen the end of the consoles, or you know, console increments now are literally that, just increments in, you know, small increments in performance. There's nothing new. There's one here. It's an article on gamesindustry.biz. Handheld consoles are the industry's next battleground, and it's showing a PS Vita. I don't know. I mean, Anbernic are doing a fair good job of creating their own battleground amongst their own devices. I don't
every
really
month.
see the main... Yeah, sometimes weekly. I don't really see the major companies jumping into the handheld market right
They're
now. It could be...
not-
I mean, they're
not
saying, is it
right
the next
now.
battleground? You know, it could be just around the corner because, you know, consoles have probably peaked for the foreseeable. You know, like Scott says, the PS5 is sat there. I mean, why have the 4 and the 5 in the market at the same time? That's very seldom happened in the past, where you've got your two generations, you know, still in the current market. So maybe they'll switch to mobile and kind of bring incremental updates to that. I don't know. It's an interesting premise.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of talk. The next Xbox is going onto ARM architecture, and there's a few things they could potentially do, yeah, to make like next consoles. But whether anyone's going to care, don't know. The PS5 Pro, I guess, is going to be a good indicator of how that all shakes out in terms of support from customers and developers. But in terms of, yeah, they've seen the Steam Deck blow up, and then all of the other well, there already was like handheld PCs from the likes of AYN and Ioneo and stuff, but they were always like, you know, short production run, you know, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, stuff like that, and they were obviously making money, like these small Chinese companies. But then, you know, Valve did the Steam Deck, sort of legitimized it a bit more. Then you had, Asus, ROG Ally, Lenovo Legion, lots of other big companies got in on the PC side of it. And it has become quite a big market. And then obviously with Sony selling a lot of their titles on the PC now, and it's running stuff at, the Steam Deck, the least powerful of them can run the PlayStation 4 God of War at, admittedly a lower resolution, but the same quality levels as the PlayStation 4. So they're all kind of now looking at it, and Microsoft especially was sort of first being like, well, hang on, people are playing Xbox games on here, just the PC versions of Xbox games that, we publish or streaming. Why aren't we doing our own thing? But then one of the common problems with the Windows stuff is, well, Windows is shit on these handhelds. So then there's a bit of a thing in Microsoft of like, well, okay, so we've got to make a version of Windows or a front end or something that basically makes it like what SteamOS does with Linux.
And on Microsoft's timetable, that'll be 2030.
And it'll look like Excel.
With Microsoft's two-tier system this time with Series S and Series X, I think they were thinking that if people have got, 300 quid, not got enough money for a Series X, they'll buy a Series S. But I think people were, it's sold more, but it's not sold well still. And I think people in that sort of price range just buy a Switch or a Steam Deck sort of thing. So I think what they might do next time is, ignore the Series S, but have the lower spec one be a handheld, and then have the powerful console. And they play the same software released at the same sort of time. PlayStation have then sort of said, well, yeah, we're keeping an eye on this. There's a big market here. We had mixed success, we'll say, with the Vita, better success with the PSP. What if we made, make something that's either compatible with the PS6 style, obviously with a drop, or is it powerful enough to run maybe PlayStation 4 stuff natively, your own library, or maybe PlayStation 5? Not likely though. Or would it be a bespoke? No one really knows. But the problem is they're all like Valve and Microsoft, if they were going to do anything first party, and Sony are all kind of waiting for the next meaningful leap in the technology, which isn't really there. Doesn't look like it's coming soon either.
What a great time to focus on making games for the consoles you've already made. Then, if there's no hope of a new console due to massive technology leaps on the horizon. Wow, maybe boys capitalize on this lull in the action to go ahead and make some goddamn games. So, I did want to address a lot of times you have a lived experience. Hey, I didn't find any games for this, right? And somebody says, oh, there's thousands, right? But that's not your experience, right? So I just wanted to honestly address my approach, what I experienced. Because I don't dislike the Switch. I don't dislike any of the current consoles. I have them all. I like them all, as the idea of them. The hardware is fine. I mean, the Switch, yes, I wish they had a non-mobile version. They could have put in better cooling. They could have put, more memory. Without that screen form factor, they could have done almost you remember the Mini Max, They could have done a Switch like that. And, I mean, because for me, it's not a mobile console. It's just not. And the sacrifices made to make it a mobile console, I think, detract from it. But to me, that would be my desired product range. They went the opposite way. They doubled down on mobile hardware. So I have a disagreement with that. But other than that, really, I like the Switch. I bought it, And when I say that I don't really have any games for it, I don't beyond the few that were released. And I want there to be games, right? But, okay, so we say there's thousands of games, right? All right, so I took here we go, Wikipedia, list of Switch games, 4,700 and something, right? All right, well, so your average console during its lifespan has between, say, 100 to 300 titles, in the cartridge and the disc days, right? So adding a massive online download library of things for emulations of prior consoles, and then the market where anybody essentially can get a game into that store. It kind of reminds me of the old days where, remember when CD-ROMs were first a thing and you'd have that giant, dangly thing hanging down from the rack with like 30 CDs for, $10. Oh, wow, there's a shit ton of software. What are you talking about? It's all shovelware. There's a lot of shit on this console. So, some of the listings of it, I just clicked through them, on the table. There's nothing new. I mean, I can't read 4,000 games in 2 minutes.
And a lot of those may be digital only.
That's my point. They're digital only. And digital only games, they're not all trash. Many are. Most are. But I totally get that, like, a guy might make a really, really good game, right? And it maybe isn't a download thing, okay? But let's say you have, like, Axes from Azure Games. What's Axes? Is that a great game I'm going to play? Azure Break Heroes by Peter Postowitsky. Okay? So this is all digital. A lot of it's hobbyist games, which can be kind of cool games. But, man, that's not Fallout 5. It's just not. It's not, goddamn the mech one that, Mech Warrior 6, where the hell is that, God damn it, what is the mech game that, I always forget the title of it. They made 1 and 2, and, the mech has like an AI and can operate independently, so you can hop out of it and pilot, or you can hop in and pilot it, or you can complete missions in parallel. So many games like that. Those are the games I'm not seeing. Titanfall, yes. Where the hell is Titanfall 3? I've seen an abandonment of these flagship titles and a massive glut of shovelware. Now, are there a few RPGs hidden in there? Yeah, maybe. A few gems. Yeah. Am I going to sort through, let's say there's 400, main sequence titles that made it to, physical media, whatever. Am I going to sort through 4,200 games? Most of it's shovelware, looking for that one that really plays well. No, I kind of expect Nintendo to do that for me with, I don't remember the old Nintendo Seal of Quality. We deemed this thing worthy to be, in our console. But Nintendo has gone from the Nintendo Seal of Quality to attaching 4,300 shovelware games and going, hey. No. I mean, I'm not finding games here I like. I'm sorry. I'm just not. And it's not pleasing.
So mentioning that seal of quality, there's a couple of points you've made I just wanted to catch up on. So that seal of quality just triggered something like they went to the expense of creating a cartridge, putting physical chips out there, putting physical product together, so every game had to be good. But now in the digital space, they can put any old shit out by, Peter, whatever his name was. And I'm not saying he doesn't make good games. He may well do. But it is just so easy now to pump out that digital stuff. And there may be little Twitch games. But that's part of the Switch library. Yeah, but it's not really the main library. Should be like a side library. Here's the main Switch library, sponsored by Nintendo. And here's the rest of the stuff, the homebrew stuff that you can play. Maybe they should divide it up like that. But it's interesting that where you say, the actual Switch hardware, the things that make it mobile compromise the hardware. And I get that. Whereas I'm loving the Steam Deck at the moment. And that is, it's all, no getting around it. It's a handheld device. But you can dock it. And I play it quite a lot docked with, a controller connected to it. So tied in with that news article we just had, is the next sort of battleground the handheld space. The Steam Deck is fantastic when it's docked. There are no compromises. All right, you're not going to run a AAA brand new title at full graphic resolution. I don't want to do that anyway. But maybe think about, producing a good handheld device that you can dock rather than a good console that you can take handheld with shitty little toy-like controllers.
Well, yeah, I mean the problem for Nintendo is their philosophy that they want it to be like 5 watts power draw, so they could put a tiny battery in it that doesn't cost them any money, and then it still runs for a while. Whereas the Steam Deck, yes, you can run a lot of games for maybe 6 hours, but if you're running like Cyberpunk on it, you're talking
2 or 3
an hour tops or something.
Yeah.
So what if you made a home version called the Switch Base, and it doesn't have a screen, it doesn't have a battery, and then maybe it's the same form factor as well as Mini Max. And that's for the folks that want to play AAA cool titles.
So scroll
or
down
advanced Nintendo titles.
to Alan Hedgedus's email. What does he
Home
call it? A
PSP
home
console.
PSP console. So this is what I wanted to. We're jumping ahead in news, but doesn't matter. They're all news articles to you. So this is like, it's a PSP essentially, but it's in the form factor of a mini PS2. So it's got a little lid. You put a UMD in. So what about
So
imagine that PS2-ish console is the hardware device that stays in your house, connects up to your TV,
Yes.
and you have a little console, maybe a PSP thing, that you slot in, and that console thing has an external graphics card that gives it a bit of a boost, you know, to run at 1080 or whatever on your TV, but then you take the little console part of it out, and you take that on the go with you. What do you think about that?
A lot of people were sort of thinking that
the cost
like
would
a
be
Switch-
heinous. I love the idea.
It was going
I
to be,
truly
and
do.
it was going to be like a PCIe graphics dock essentially, so that you could get up to 4K. Well, it wouldn't be full native 4K, but it would make the Switch look better on a 4K TV when you dock it, and it uses the external graphics card, and then you take it out, and you're basically running on integrated graphics. I think that's the
That would
best
be
way to do
very
it, but
expensive.
no one wants to approach it. Yeah, no
Well,
one wants
hey,
to approach
Random,
it. for the-
yeah, it's technically the best solution. I would offer no argument to that, and I would echo that enthusiastically. I wish Nintendo would do that, even if it was just sold as, hey, look, it's a $412 Switch. Okay, I would ask that they make some games for it, but
Look
if they
at
said,
look at the
we're selling
second
a
picture.
$410 Switch.
Look at the second picture on Alan's email there. It's almost like there's a PSP embedded in it. Like you could take that PSP out of it and go away with that, and then come back and dock it in.
To
me, that just makes
honestly,
sense.
I think,
With the
dude, if you look
PSP.
at the realities of production, okay, if we're gonna make a, like, say a Switch, like let's say the Switch 2 has obviously been designed, it's already out there. We're not, it's already a but
do a
the
Kickstarter.
hypothetical. Yes, there's a Kickstarter. But no, hypothetically, if you were gonna do if what I would want to see out of a Switch 2, right? You do a mobile version and you do a home version, okay? The home version is they're separate product lines, okay? They run the same games, they have the same OS. The home one has a heavier duty graphics card and can run these games, at a much higher res and all. The mobile one has, integrated graphics, a lower capability, right? And the designers know that you've got two forks. So you can either do mobile only or you can do home only. You can do home mobile and you fork your graphics, right? That's simple. I think that gives the developers a very clear roadmap of what to develop assets for and what they intend the game to be. The problem, and then becomes, okay, you're going to either pay, let's say, $300, or whatever for the home or the mobile. They could be both priced similar because the screen and the packaging and the form factor and shit that goes into making the mobile, I think would be about equivalent to just having a better graphics chip built in, for the home. So, okay, I think there's two, equally priced but different usage. And then they could sell a dock for the mobile version if you want, but it doesn't run at a higher res. It's just lets it display on your TV. This could easily be done. The problem I think you have with doing it the other way of saying, okay, we're going to have this dockable thing, is when you add in that PCIe interconnect and you add in that separate graphics card, the power, man, that's going to up. Now you're going to be paying, $500 comparable to a $300, even though it didn't really cost that much because they're going to premium the shit out of it. But all that said,
it'd be better to have two distinct SKUs, definitely.
that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I say, it's going to be what sort of Microsoft are talking about doing. Of instead of doing a Xbox Series S and an Xbox Series X, they'll do an X and then they'll do a handheld that's equivalent to what the S was, and that will plays the same library. It's just a different graphics and performance target for the developers, but it's a fixed performance target, so they know what they're doing, and that's I think the way they're going to go. Because what I wanted was partway in the Switch life cycle, especially when I was starting to play more online games, was I don't know if you remember the PlayStation TV or the Vita TV, which was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the PlayStation
Sure.
Vita, but without all the screen and all the battery. Just this tiny little tiny box with an Ethernet connection and a HDMI on it, and it, you know, it looked decent on an HD TV because it was running 720p. And that was a nice little console. And I was just like, they could easily make a Switch this size with an Ethernet jack, and, you know, Bluetooth control to the Joy-Cons or the Pro controller or whatever, and then have just a dedicated TV only little box. And that would have been amazing. Like, people would have bought the shit out of it, and they could make them in all different colors and everything they want. And, you know, I mean, they could have charged the same amount for it, even though they're saving a buttload on screens and batteries and shit that they don't have to put in, and like the mechanical bits for the Joy-Cons. Although you probably would need to have Joy-Con charging somehow. But anyway, they would make far more profit, I think, just off that little box. They just, I don't know, maybe they thought people wouldn't gimp themselves on a TV only system when they could get one that did both, except people were buying like multiple Switches because they're dicks. You know, oh, this one's got an OLED screen. This one doesn't even detach the controllers, and you can't even dock it.
Yeah.
But I'll buy that one as well.
I
But it's
know.
a bit small because it's a bit smaller, and people just bought multiples. So people would have bought it. And
Quick
I
question.
don't get why they didn't do it.
Quick question, yes or no? If the PS6 came out tomorrow, would you buy one?
Well, I've not bought a PS5 yet because
No.
there's nothing worth buying it for. So
if
there's
a
a
new
couple of things I want to
handheld,
play.
if a new handheld came out tomorrow, you know, a
Handheld
Nintendo,
what?
a Sony, or a
You know,
Microsoft.
honestly,
Would you buy
Mike, I think. Let me give my best answer to I think where you're headed with this line of questioning. For the first time in my life, I think I would do something that other people do. I think I would wait to see what the software library is before buying the hardware device. I've never done that. No, I'm serious. I've
Yeah.
never done that before. I've
Yeah.
always just bought consoles because I like the hardware. Like, I bought the Genesis. Well, I knew there was going to be a software library for it. That was different. But I still predominantly bought it because of the hardware. I bought the SNES because of the hardware. I mean, I see like the PS, you know, even today the PS5 is coming out. Well, that's good hardware, you know. I have habitually bought, you know, hardware for, you know, for the sake of buying hardware. I think, like, even with the Switch 2, you know what? I think, honestly, I'm going to sit back and wait and see what games get released before I buy one. I mean, I'm not so sure I see the need anymore. But I have found a new and creative suggestion here on how we can piss away our money without buying consoles with no libraries. And we've got an email here from the most expensive memorabilia ever sold. So, the Maltese Falcon statue from the movie of the same name sold for $4.1 million US. I mean, that's a great movie, but I mean, really?
I know.
All right.
You can 3D print one.
The 7-foot tall robot
Now, there's a robot you want to fuck around with.
from Forbidden Planet. Yeah.
Glad you said around with.
$5.4 million.
This is not Westworld.
Marilyn Monroe's subway dress, $5.6 million. You know, that will probably one day become. Okay, I mean, like, in a way, $5.6 million for a dress, yeah. But that is such an iconic piece of history. We're not. This didn't happen yesterday. This was 1954, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're coming up on, you know, before long. I mean, it's 20, you know, 4, almost 25 now. Before long, that'd be a 100-year-old thing of, you know, the post-World War II period in America. I mean, that's that. I could see that having a certain cultural iconism or whatever that would. I'm sure there's a word for that, but something's iconic. Kurt Cobain's MTV Unplugged guitar, $6 million. I'd sell for a 5x5 chunk of the ceiling. Mikey gets it.
I did. That's dark.
James Bond's Aston Martin, $6.4 million. Wow. I mean, yeah, I guess what it comes down to is the competition of the people that want it and what they're willing to spend, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's a good-looking car, though, I have to admit. James Bond or not, if I had the $6.4 million for a car, that would be the one. That is a damn fine-looking car.
The beauty of going to a
it looks-
classic car show in this country is you will 9 times out of 10 see one of those. Maybe not finished to that spec and with all the, this one's got like the machine guns modeled into it and stuff. But you will see a beautiful DB5 at a lot of car shows in this country.
Yeah, and then you come over here to see a Morris Minor. No, you did. I took Mike to a car show downtown, and he saw more low-grade classic, more working-class British cars than he did in his own country.
Well, this is my daily driver.
It was what my dad drove to work, and he hated it.
Yeah. But to be fair, there was some stuff that I would not see anywhere else. But yeah, I did pay a lot to go and see a Moggy Minor.
Michael Jordan's NBA jersey for $10 million. No. Elizabeth Taylor's necklace, $11.8 million. No, I'm not a jewelry guy either. A baseball card for Mickey Mantle for $12.6 million. No. Someone's going to feel really, silly like 90 years from now when the ink fades out and they got a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny, though? You ever notice, like, sometimes in sci-fi movies, like, they'll have, like, like the deck of some starship and, like, under a glass dome, like, the captain has his, Mickey Mantle 1952 card and the year is, like, 2072. I could see something like that. But Paul Newman's Rolex for $17.8 million. Not so much. Not a watch guy. Babe Ruth's jersey for $24 million. Wow. Some of that's wow. Yeah. Interesting things to spend your millions on.
Yeah. Just an addendum to that. I think it was last week that in the making of The Wizard of Oz, there were 4 pairs of ruby slippers. One of them sold, I think it was last week or the week before, for $3 million. Which pales into insignificance to like a $24 million baseball shirt, but still $3 million for a pair of shoes. There was also a story, I don't quite know what to make of it, but there was this like Bitcoin millionaire or billionaire or whatever, and he bought a piece of modern art for $6 million, and it was a banana duct taped to a wall. He spent $6 million on buying it and then ate the banana.
Hopefully he was doing it on service to rid the world of that art.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's done us all a favor, but I mean, is that...
I'd do that and save the peel to wipe with.
Does that show class, or is that a sign of no class? I can't make my mind up. I don't know.
I think it shows somebody that has a lot of money. It's up to you.
It doesn't know what the fuck to do with it. It's like
So
watching
that one
Brewster's
here,
Millions. Have you seen Brewster's Millions?
That's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
So I got one here from Mr. Kaminsky's, and it is, Coleco would like to work with you. Okay. Seems legit. Usually I run my business through a small Gmail account. And here it is. Coleco and ColecoVision is now accepting new licensees. If you have been developing a product idea you would like to collaborate with Coleco, we would love to hear from you. We have favorable licensing terms. Yeah, fuck, they'll give you the whole console license without even looking at your plans.
Yeah, it's like a Nintendo Switch, but instead of a dockable one, you've got two separate systems. We could pitch this entire show to them and tell them, give us some money, seed money, to get our manufacturing online, and then we'll go for a holiday.
Well, when reached out so that we know you're not just some asshole making things up, please ensure you have a detailed... No, No, this is simple. There's 4 criteria here. Let's see if this would have saved them from the chameleon.
Step 1, do you
'Cause
have a
this is
T-shirt
legit.
that's branded?
Well, oh, no, if not, we'll provide you with one. Which they did. So, ColecoExpo@gmail.com. Mike, I recognize the email.
So
That's
do
the
I.
email that Cardillo, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so this is not, well, I don't think it's fake. So I think what happened is Chris maybe let things cool off. But that fucking Expo is, my God, man. Anyway, he
Yeah,
let things cool
change
off.
the
Now he's
email.
trying-
You own the domain. Don't use Coleco Expo at.
Yeah,
change it,
don't,
dude.
Yeah, don't, no. But don't remind people of that. And we're giving you free advice, Chris, again here. And so what you want to do is not that. All right, so he asked for 1, a detailed description of your plan. Now, he didn't ask that the first time around. That bit him in the ass.
Next step,
My
profits.
takeaway here is he's looking for somebody to develop a product for him that he can then market and license. Okay. Hey, I got the name to put on your product. All right, here, next thing. Your offer, proposed time frame, deposit, and royalty percentage. Now, wait, you're paying a deposit to them, or they're paying a deposit to you?
It's not clear.
What's
that
the
one, is
royalty
it?
percentage? Yeah. Well, let me just read it to make sure we're being clear here. Step 1, a detailed description of your plan. Okay. Number 2, your offer, proposed time frame, deposit, and royalty percentage. All right. Again, who? Number 3, sample photos of your product or concept if available. I'm going to say, Chris, you should take a slightly harder ass line on this one. And not only do you want to see photos of that said product, which we have seen can be problematic, you're going to want to have them present the thing in your office if need be. And you're going to want somebody there with a screwdriver this time.
Here it is. Plug it in.
But then he's also just put if available, so you know it's not essential. This.
Yeah. Have you got any proof? I'm sorry, that's not available right now.
We're not wanting to reveal our technology at this time. Now, number 4 is a clear and concise description of your product or idea.
Which is at odds
Wait.
with number 1.
So you want a detailed description of the plan, the offer of the financials, photos of the product, if available, and then a clear, concise description of the above. Chris, have you been drinking?
Yeah.
I'm just asking. This is idiocy. Look, Cardillo, when I talk to him, and
You should do the Facebook thing and just reply to him and say, "You okay, hon?"
Go home, Cardillo. You're drunk.
What are you chatting about, Willie?
Oh,
What are you chatting about, Cardillo?
but, okay. So his next thing here says, however, there is an important note. We are not looking to invest in ideas at this time. We're seeking licenses of quality products ready to bring to market. So there's nothing in it for you. Yeah, the deposit and the royalty percentage is what you're paying them then. So he's asking you to write him a check and then give royalties so that you can put the Coleco name on your ready-to-go product.
He's going to ship you a pack of stickers, and you ship him back 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Wow.
He's fucking. When I talked to him, he had the weight of having just signed the Coleco Chameleon into existence, to find out mere weeks later that the product was a long-standing fraud, and he had just put his name on it, and he had to back out of that, and then this shit. Oh my God! You know, he didn't strike me as a moron the first time I talked to him. He struck me as just a guy who got his dick caught in the door. But I think he might actually be a moron.
Yeah. How do you decide if someone's an idiot or not? Just give them time. Just just wait.
Oh, God.
Fuck.
But some good news. One of our listeners in the chat, Goldie here,
Yeah. Yeah.
was, you know, he wants to point out that he has a TRS-80 Model 4 with dual 5.25s on his desk. Much respect for that, man. What do I got here? You know, I got the 1000HX, the, you know, Atari, the Atom, the MSI. You know, dude, stacks of retro computers right next to your main one. I got the, you know, the big Linux thing here with the 4 monitors and those. Yeah, but you should always don't keep your shit in, well, I mean, if you got more shit than you have places, don't keep it in boxes. Set the thing up, hook it up. Nowadays, you've got, the future is now for being able to display this stuff to modern monitors better than you ever could. You know, having the ability to store and access games and software on them. Yeah, guys, get your stuff out of the boxes, man. Hook it up and enjoy it. You know, you paid for it. You collected it for a reason.
Scroll up, Scott. You've got more in common than you think. He's also given Amico money.
What? Hold on. Stop,
Only he
stop.
bought the
Where am I
mobile
scrolling?
apps.
Oh, yeah. No, I was trying to be nice. I wasn't going to bring that up. Oh, hey.
Maybe
Mike,
you could
totally
start a
separate
class
topic.
action lawsuit.
On Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to start a class action lawsuit. I don't even know who we're suing. I was gonna ask when we were talking about, you know, TV, movies, games that, you know, at random, I just don't think this would be something you're familiar with. I think Mike would be, though. But if I'm wrong, please jump in. Are you familiar with Bob Hall, the designer of the Miata?
I know the name. I don't know anything
Yeah.
more about him, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't know much about him either. It was always just
I've come across a bunch of it from, because I think they featured a load of stuff about him in Gran Turismo 7, and I sort of
Really?
through
That
osmosis
would be
picked up
appropriate.
a bunch of stuff.
Well, that would be appropriate because the guy, like I said, he wasn't he's called the father of the Miata, you know. But he's like, look, you know, it's a design team. It's a group of people. I had some say. People back in Japan had a say. It was a team process, you know. But he is largely known as, like, the guy that, you know. So, anyway, there's a whole series. I guess his grandson is one of the hosts on Donut, which is a car-centric YouTube channel. But anyway, I wanted to mention to you guys and you know, certainly to our listeners that Donut has done this whole series of videos of Bob Hall. At first, it was kind of like, hey, he's going to sit down and they're going to go through, you know, Miata mods. And this guy's got a wicked. Dude, he reminds me kind of a Simon Butler of the automotive industry, except not quite as personal. I guess that's the only way I can put it. So he's got just this acidic, razor sharp sense of humor. And so they go through like these pictures of various modified Miatas. And so then they started doing more and more videos with him, and he's basically become a host on the show. Mike, you random, any of our listeners, you should really just go to YouTube and, you know, put in Bob Hall, you know, Donut. And, you know, there's one like where he goes out, they go out to this test track and they're driving these different modified Miatas around the track. And the whole premise is he was promised water when it was over. And so like halfway through, he's like, do I get my water yet? It's like, it's so funny. But yeah, guys, great funny series. And he's not asking for your money or to develop a product for him.
Which always helps. One here from me. Quick one. It's a lot of our news items, some submitted by me, because I subscribe, some by others. Indie Retro News. The guy behind Indie Retro News posted, he says a bit of a rant. A little bit ranty, but I mean, it's fair enough. He's just basically saying, look, you know, people are sending me sometimes multiple games per day to review, and I can't get to them all. And then people are threatening me, like, you reviewed this game but didn't review my game, you know. And it's just, he's basically saying, like, please calm down. This is a hobby, you know, to me, you know. It's not my
Just me.
career. Just chill. And
don't
obviously
have
got a
staff.
lot of support in the comments. I did post one. Can I find it quickly? I don't know. Is it fairly near the top? I think it was fairly new when I posted it. But basically saying, just do what you want to do and fuck everyone else. Oh, here we go. This is mine. It's anonymous, but keep up the great work, you legend, and fuck everyone who had us a single complaint. So yeah,
You know, it's funny. It is interesting with just sorry to go back to the Bob Hall interviews there. It's interesting to see somebody address things in context, right? Like so often, Subaru has been asked, like, "Hey, I'm not sure what's called in the UK, but here it's called the VRZ. It's a co-developed product with Toyota and Subaru. It's been sold under both, but it's a sports car without any power." And it, dude, I've driven, my neighbor had one. It drives, the handling is near Lotus quality. It definitely, I think it edges out the Miata. It is a wonderful handling car. Braking is first class. And I wish I was being towed by something faster like a garbage truck. It was god awful, all right? And every time, you know, people asked, hey, why the fuck won't you release an uprated engine for this thing? Do a STI edition and put in a 400 horsepower turbo. Come on. And they're like, oh, please enjoy the handling, you know? And like to hear Bob Hall when he talks about the Miata, obviously, okay, the Miata turns, stops, runs great. And for what it was designed to be, it wasn't designed to compete with their top tier sports car. It was designed to be a fun roadster. It truly is. And I get why they put the motor in there that they did. It's a lot of, like the British 4-cylinder cars of the 60s and 70s. They weren't monsters. You know, they weren't competing with the giant V8s. But they were credible, fun cars to drive, you know. And but the Miata was designed so well. The chassis is so original. When you go through and you rip all that out and you put in, better, mounts and cross members and all that, and you put in like a 6.7 liter V8 with a 6-speed trans out of a Dodge Viper, and you actually go through and do this, the car handles it. It can handle that kind of horsepower, and because it's such a rigid, beautiful chassis, and because you don't essentially gain any weight, the handling is preserved. It's wonderful. But why were they so adamant against additional power, right? And, Bob Hall, instead of just going, oh, please enjoy the handling, he gets into the nuts and bolts of like, all right, one, there's a rule in the automotive industry, don't compete against yourself. So if you make a faster, better car for cheaper than your faster, better car, the fuck are you doing? It's like, all right, fair enough, Bob, good point. But there was so much of that, and I'm going somewhere with this. There's so much of that in the Bob Hall interviews that it's a question I think we've tried to ask, on multiple interviews throughout the years. And I kind of wish more people would ask is, the why of these decisions. And I think maybe at some point we'll be able to sit down with somebody, years from now, and we'll be able to ask the question, why didn't you release games for your system? Go. Or why did you release 3 additional mobile screens but not one non-mobile solution? Maybe one day, And I say that, partially in jest, but I would like to hear in context, answers to some of these decisions, that maybe make sense internally, that don't make sense externally. But, I think people like Bob Hall's fundamental honesty in saying, we had to work to this budget, we had to work to this standard, and we had this, we had that, and this is the decision, right? We thought we were going to sell 3,000 a month, we sold 6,000 a month, and we had a runaway success, and we nailed the formula, the performance, the price point, and the user friendliness and all. Why would we go in a different direction? Okay, fair enough, man. Thanks for your answer. I'll go put a 6.7 liter in mine. I'll do what you didn't. But yeah, that said, I just, Yeah. Anyway, I would like to see some of that. I would love to see a figure in the video game industry sitting down and giving some of these just brutally honest, entertaining answers. I think fans respect it. I'd like to see it done in current day production.
Yeah.
But anyway, got a article here from Peter O'Brien, and it says, to the shock of absolutely nobody, Sega is trying to shut down the Super Sega FPGA project. So I think Random, I think you mentioned the Super Sega earlier.
Yeah.
How about Sega could have taken a page from the Cardillo playbook and emailed these dudes and said, hey, maybe we can do business.
Well, they
They're
could have
not
done,
making their own.
except the whole thing's a scam.
Yeah, because they looked at it and went, we don't want our name
Yeah, I was
anywhere
gonna-
near that pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
So,
Just
I was going
an-
to say there's some additional complexity. to
Yeah,
that,
and
but, you know.
addendum to that, Ian Lee on his YouTube channel interviewed Alejandro, the guy behind it. So the guy we were discussing last month or the month before, trying to park his Lamborghini and it's rolling away. He's currently banned from driving. So he is the guy behind it, and Ian Lee interviews him, and he's like asking him questions. 1 second, gotta go. And he goes off, and he's cooking his dinner, and he comes back in. Yeah, dinner's nearly ready. And he opens a beer, and he's chatting away. He's trying to do a serious interview, and this guy he's 3 sheets to the wind. It's just the whole thing is nonsense, pretty much nonsense.
Who the Lamborghini Parker was
He's banned from
completely
driving.
drunk while fixing dinner?
Yes, yeah. Watch the
Was
interview.
it was it for drinking while driving or not? Or
I don't think he said why he was banned from driving. I'm not sure, but yeah, the Super Sega is just.
yeah, I sent a
Oh,
link into that
it's-
interview. I've not watched it yet, but yeah, over Christmas. so
the
I'm gonna
wildest
watch it.
interview. Yeah, there's the link. I'll
Yeah.
post that in chat. The wildest interview I have ever conducted. I mean, just click on the link. I'll post it in live chat, and I'll post it in. Will it paste in the? Oh, well, Scott can click on it in the email. But you can see him there. He's got a fag on the go. he's got his Sega collection in the background. It's mental.
Well, Random, there's one here I'm going to leave for you about the Batman SNES on Genesis. I'll leave that for you since I guess you have some more heads up on it. Mike, you sent in the Hold Your Wii for a Wii. I remember that, the radio contest.
I did, yeah. It's just a video about a radio contest, like Scott says. It's a competition, and it's a radio station, couple of hosts on a breakfast show, got a bunch of people in the studio, and they were making them drink gallons and gallons of water, but they weren't allowed to go to the bathroom, and the last one to hold out would win a Nintendo Wii. But I won't spoil it. But somebody dies. I won't spoil it, but yeah, it's just watch it. It's crazy. A Wii for a Wii.
Yeah, that was a hell of a moment. That changed radio contesting forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, it all seems so innocent.
Yeah. So Random, I mentioned it at the top earlier, sent in the oral history of Nolan Bushnell, and I followed it up with the Ted Dabney one. And just going back to what Scott mentioned a second ago, you know, having people explain decisions that they're making in the industry. Like Ted Dabney towards the end of his interview there gets into like is leaving Atari and what he did, you know, buying like a general store up in the mountains. And like his wife was running it and he was sort of, you know, helping her do that, but he wasn't necessarily doing a whole chunk of work there. But she was like saying, well, we're turning over this much. If we did this, we can turn over this much. And he's saying, well, if I did this, we could do this. And he was thinking about things the same way that he thought about Atari. You know, are we going to do this ourselves or are we going to go home? And it's the same mindset, the same person. Just interesting that, you know, he's talking about a general store that he opened, and I won't spoil it for you, but he talks about the numbers they did before he got involved and the numbers they did after, and like some people are just going to succeed at what they do because they think a certain way, and he was one of those people. It's a interesting couple of interviews.
That is true. There's some people that have a formula for thought. I got this friend that he does stuff like this, and he just makes scads of money at it. Just like money just falls into his lap, and he's done multiple projects. One was a robotic roller coaster simulator, and so he's like, oh yeah, and 3D tubing better. He knows what the costs are, and then he just did it, and then just made shit tons of money. I mean, it's kind of amazing how some people just have a knack for that, but whatever they try out, they tend to succeed and make money at. And
yeah,
I don't know. That's not my gift.
An interesting bit of the Nolan Bushnell one. He talks about losing his ass on Androbot.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I do appreciate his work on Androbot because I'm finally getting mine all fired up and ready to go. Just a beautiful piece of, the promise of robotics in the early 80s was so amazing. So, got one here, putting the Mega back into Sega. How the company wants to return to creating video game rock and roll compared to Nintendo's pop music. Okay, I mean, that's a fair thing. If you look at like, say, SNES versus, Genesis, right? Mm-hmm. Green blood, red blood,
Yeah.
I kind of, that's why I liked both, though. I liked the Nintendo approach, but Nintendo also felt a little more PG, and, Sega had the edge, right? And anyway, it's a, kind of a, I don't want to say long, but little longer article. Got some good content. I mean, it's a good read. It's too long to summarize here.
It is, but it's interesting. The takeaway from it is, Nintendo were the PG and Sega were the rock and roll, and you can kind of, without going into the detail of it, I think most people would come away with that takeaway.
Yeah, do I want to watch Bay City Rollers or do I want to watch, Metallica?
Yeah.
But no, that said, I do like Nintendo's approach. I do, but I also like Sega's approach. Dude, I would be so happy if Sega, and the guy in the article, kind of concludes with, "I hope this happens." Well, fuck me too, but you're in charge of it. Yeah. I can't believe that Sega is dead. I don't think that I think they could return. So what if I found out tomorrow Sega's releasing a new console, and they have something called, I don't know whatever they're going to call it. But it's, comparable in price to the PS5. It's a big real deal. It's got a developed, ecosystem and all. Or none at all. What if it's just games? I'm in either way, man. I would love this. But I won't hold my breath. I'd pass out before the thing arrived.
The Sega Pluto, I would call it. If you want to buy that name from me, you can. It's £5.
Well, we're going to need a detailed plan and some photos.
Give you a detailed plan and a short summary.
Yeah, send me a pack of stickers. We'll call it quits. David Gyrick sent one in, talking about 30 years of the PlayStation. 10 important PSX games.
Mike.
Yes.
Mike, real quick. I was just scrolling through. I can't stop looking at these interview, the things with this Alejandro guy. I can't stop. There's this one fucking quote here that I can't function until we get past this. It just said, he made no more sense in Spanish than he did in English.
Yeah. So,
oh god, that's
in the interview that Ian Lee did. His co-host on his new show speaks fluent Spanish, and so they start in English, and then she cracks off in Spanish talking to him, which is where that quote comes from. Yeah, you need to watch that interview.
Let me ask you a question: If this guy came to Blackpool, right, and he's there to promote, the thing. And he shows up there, and he parks his car somewhere near the offshore.
And then it rolls away into that deep hole where you're not allowed to swim.
He gets hit by the tram. So, bits of Lamborghini splattered all over the promenade as the tram.
All right,
hits
lads,
it.
you want to see some
And he's
tits?
like,
See.
You guys want to see some shit? Yeah. So, he comes into the expo. We've got our booth there. He's in the next booth over, right? And around 7 o'clock comes on Friday. They close the expo. Now, would you or would you not absolutely spend the rest of the evening hanging out with this dude as we go drinking?
I
Oh,
think
hell
so.
yeah.
I think so. You'd have to, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to. I don't even drink anymore, and I would be right there. I mean, I literally would be like, I'm going to have my diet ginger ale, and we are going to Party Town. I could not.
We
I could
could
not
share scam
resist it.
stories.
He's
I would
getting
be
the
like,
full
"Hey,
dogging
bro."
tour and everything, man.
I would be like, hey, bro, what's your favorite brand of cigarettes? I would have the guy's favorite cigarettes in my pocket. Hey, you need a like? I'd have my favorite, whatever his favorite drink is. I would make sure I was ready to spend the evening hanging with this dude. It would be fucking fascinating.
What was I was on the 10 PS1 game,
doing,
so
yeah,
we'll scroll
PS1
down
games.
quickly. We'll 1, 2 miss a few. Ridge Racer, Metal Gear Solid. We'll forget Final Fantasy.
Less sense in Spanish than English. It's just so oddly specific. I mean,
Yeah. Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, Gran Turismo, Crash Bandicoot, Wipeout, nah. ISS Pro, nah. So they got some of them right anyway. You can read the article at your leisure.
Yeah, the one that Scott mentioned that I'd sent in, this was the Batman one. This is, knowledgeable listeners will know that, as was the thing back in the day, that the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo got different ports of the same property, and Batman Returns was one such thing. So the SNES got a Konami-developed scrolling beat-em-up that the Mega Drive didn't get, and a team have been making essentially their own ground-up port of it, with a couple of enhancements. So it's a slightly bigger screen area because of the Mega Drive's higher resolution, but they've included 2-player co-op and 60 FPS gameplay, and it's all going to get released on Christmas Day. So by the time you're hearing this, it will have come out, and you'll be able to find it and play it. So yeah, I've always liked the SNES game, so be interested to check out their work on the Mega Drive.
There have been some good Batman games over the years. I remember one on the PS on the Commodore 64. I think it was 2 different adventures on 2 different cassettes, and it was almost kind of like, you remember the game Comics? Was it Comic Strip?
Comic
Oh,
Zone?
Comic Zone, where you like left a scene and went into another, and it opened like another cartoon window. There was a Batman game like that, Batman the Cape Crusader, I think it was, and you had a Penguin game and a Joker game on different cassettes. There's been some good Batman games over the years. One here from David Garrick, Where's the Madden? And this is a trailer and an article about a Madden documentary. The headline is, if it's in the game, it's in the trailer for Amazon Prime Madden NFL documentary. So does it say when it's coming out? I don't believe it does. Just quickly scanning through. It's only a short article, not deep on detail, but there is a Madden documentary on the way.
okay, why?
Well, yeah, well, I suppose it's a big part of video games. It's not to our taste, but it's got a bit. I mean, how many games has Madden sold? I mean, fucking hell, come on.
I look at it as kind of like the FIFA of football.
Well,
It's just,
well, yeah. Yeah.
Which that's wrap your head around that fucking statement. The FIFA of football.
Show title, right? Let me rearrange those
yeah,
words.
Mike,
It's
thank you.
the
You beat me to it.
FIFA of Madden games, was it?
No, the FIFA football. I
It's-
think as is.
It's the FIFA of football. There we go.
Yes.
There's a show title. It beats out Rocket
yeah.
Scientist Math anyway. Let's be honest, what doesn't?
You paid money to learn that? Yep.
Sure did.
Another one for me of a game that sort of went missing is now coming out. The Raiden spin-off we were talking about shmups last month. It's called Viper Phase 1. Is going to be released on the Switch and the PS4 as part of the Arcade Archives. So it's a vertical scroller, and obviously you are again saving Earth as their last defense. So differences that between the original game, that sort of limited how much ammo you had for secondary weapons. The revision of it changed it. But then they're slightly weaker. But yeah, this will be the first official release on a home console. It looks pretty cool.
It does. Have we got
Is-
any left? I
that's, I
think
think
they're all
all I
marked
got.
as red.
Yeah.
Have we done them all?
Me again.
Looks that way.
It was one. It's a bit of a stretch. They title it as Modders turned cancelled GBA game
Oh,
into
yeah.
reality. And they're stretching a bit there. I think there was essentially going to be a compilation of the original Mega Man's released for the GBA, which never happened. Sort of, it was getting late in the years, and the DS was taken over. So we ended up with the Zero collection on the DS. I don't know whether we ended up with any of the other Mega Men on the DS. Maybe 3DS or some of them. But anyway, someone has, as we know, people have been colorizing Game Boy games for years, making what are called DX versions, and people have gone through now and have made all of the Mega Man games that are released on the original Game Boy. They've colorized them all and sort of making them into kind of an unofficial sort of roundup collection of them all. So they are available should you be into those kind of coloration projects.
So I think that kind of covers the news items. Any final thoughts on 2024? What we want to see in 2025? What do we think? What's
Less
coming
of
next
2024.
year? well, yeah. The Donald.
A dozen
Start.
top tier A title games, AAA, whatever you want to call it, for every console currently in production.
Is the
Maybe
Amiga
not the
currently in
PS4.
production?
Dump the PS4. Keep the PS5. Why have both?
Because there's a shit lot of people with PS4 still.
Well,
and
yeah,
if you-
that's a whole separate matter.
We'll give
You
them
can
some
make-
games on the 5 and make them buy the
Why
5.
didn't they
Well,
make
yeah.
PS5? Oh, because there's no point.
Yeah, the problem they did is they made them too cross-compatible.
Yeah.
So yeah, people. I mean, it's the same thing you had with people still making Wii software that would also work in a Wii U and things like that. Because it was like, well, yeah, there's like a gajillion Wiis out there and 3 Wii Us. Of course, we're just going to make it for the Wii, and people with a Wii U can stick
Yeah.
it in and still play it.
Yeah.
Um,
So, any big revelations you think that are coming next year, games-wise?
Games-wise,
Are we going to see the Switch too?
Alejandro will get
Yes.
his shit together, and that thing will happen.
we will see the Switch 2.
Q3?
March release.
Whoa!
Late March.
Really?
March 27,
March.
I feel, is
Wow.
one of their popular dates.
Launch titles?
That sort of area. Launch titles.
Fuck all.
Cooking
yeah.
Mama.
Some Ubisoft will definitely be there with a couple of titles. But yeah, I don't know.
March.
Not heard a lot. Not heard a lot software-wise written rumblings. I mean, we've got Metroid Prime 4 still on the way, and they've had HD remakes of, well, Switch versions of the HD remakes of the GameCube. No, and the Wii Zeldas, so like Twilight Princess HD and stuff like that they've been sat on. I guess they could release that for, well, both at that point. I'm sure they'll do a new. Here, we'll sell you another version of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom that runs a lot more than 20 frames per second this time.
Yeah.
But you've got to pay for it.
Any big purchases, gaming or otherwise?
I'm going to buy a GPU that's going to be horrifically expensive because I'm an idiot.
For what, VR or just for general?
Just for general.
What you're playing on
Just
that
heating
that
his
needs that?
home.
Yeah, what you're playing that needs that?
Just modern PC stuff. In going to a 4K monitor.
Okay.
Well, it's a
Right.
TV. That basically was the death knell for my current
Is it
GPU,
worth
really.
it? Going to 4K? Well,
No. Well,
I like your style. I'm going to do this, and this. Is it worth it? Nah.
it's
That's
actually
just
been
a flex of the money I had to burn on a graphics card.
Random, I
It's been
repeat the
amazing.
question. You okay, hon?
It's been an amazing screen for work and for like stuff like this where I've got plenty of real estate for everything. I have very much enjoyed sat in front of like, a big screen with very good detail and very good HDR and things like that, and it's been nice to sit and play and like high refresh rate. But at the end of the day, could I live without it? Probably. But
Yeah.
I've got myself to this situation.
Never
so-
ask yourself, can you live without it? The answer's always yes. Don't let
Yeah.
that stop you doing anything. Scott, anything new on the horizon? Or are we talking all old robots? Anything exciting you at the moment?
Well, I mean, sure. The old robots bit. I had a number that I wanted to restore, and some I had set up maybe decade plus ago that I want to return to, and others I finally got parts. I mean, there's one robot, the RB5X, right, which is a kind of looks like a little R2D2 kind of guy. I've been slowly acquiring parts for that for like almost 2 decades. And now I have enough to complete the robot, and I even have a second set of parts to can do a full standalone, basically I'm going to do a sort of a modernized replica of it using, the body parts from the original one. So it'll be the chassis of the original with some updated hardware. Got so much neat stuff out. Like you finish projects like that now. So the ability to, reproduce circuit boards or ROMs and all that's gotten so much more accessible. The 3D printing software chain to remake the housing for it, I just think all the current developments in, desktop manufacturing have really reached an amazing point. And we're starting to see a lot of benefits from it. My prediction for the year is one thing we are going to see, and I'll elaborate on this in Hardware Flashback, is software-based hardware, particularly using, Pi-type modules, specifically Pis. But, there's other modules out there that are pretty useful too. But I think what we're going to see is a new direction of solutions for hardware upgrades to existing, vintage machines. For example, the graphic card I'll be discussing this month, it is, I've actually got it right here. Let me grab it and hold it up for the camera. Let's see. Because it kind of makes sense when you can see exactly what I'm talking about here with this. This is a graphics card for an Apple II. It goes into the Apple II bus, and as you can see, it has 4 basically buffer ICs, which is curious because all those really do is translate the 5 volt to a 3.3 volt, although the Pi is 5 volt tolerant. So, okay, whatever, it doesn't even really need those. But what it has is an HDMI port. So this little card that's nothing more than a Pi,
And a micro
and there's
USB.
no symbol of the Pis.
Is that micro USB?
Huh?
on the opposite side.
What were we looking at here?
Yeah,
That?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Although that isn't even in play. The HDMI is what, and as you know, this Pi module doesn't even have HDMI. How'd they get HDMI? Oh, they synthesized it on the thing. So what they're doing is this particular Pi here picks all of the signals off the bus and creates the graphical subsystem. So that little card, you stick it in the Apple II, you turn it on, you get a no flicker, no waves, no RF, interference. It's just the most crystal clear, digitally pure output that the Apple II can produce, right? Well, now this card here think of this as a whatever the hell you want it to be card, right? Because right now, the software load on this card, it boots up and it operates as a graphics card, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing preventing you, and such cards exist, from having it emulate, say, additional memory. Because that thing is so fast that it can actually, it can create a graphics card, right? It can, let's say you wanted 256 kilobytes of RAM in an Apple II. You could absolutely emulate RAM because it's so freaking fast that the machine's speeds of writing and reading from RAM have no idea it's not hardware RAM. And because you're not doing anything on the Apple II's resources, this is, basically it's like an Apple II hooked up to a supercomputer. It's fine. It just works. So think about what you could do in software. Special purpose cards like language cards, coprocessors. You want to emulate an 8088 in an Apple II? Okay, you just write the software. This is the card. So by the fact that it's got an HDMI on it and it's got software on there to be, so what we're going to see, I think, in the coming year is that multiplied. We're going to see so many new, and not just for the Apple II. I mean, we're talking for virtually every retro computer out there. You're going to see a whole new generation of replica and new functionality of cards. Direct connections to the internet. Who knows? I mean, anything you want to do. We're going to see an amazing era of new hardware for retro computers, I think. So that's kind of my prediction for the coming year for retro, and certainly what I hope happens because it kind of already is. I think it's going to head in a wonderful direction.
Yeah, amen to that. Great. Other possible show title in chat there: Robots Before Robots Were Ready.
Yeah.
In the computer museum, we've got a couple of really technical people. Half of the stuff they talk about, I just don't get. It's way above my pay grade.
Nerds.
But they are talking nerd alert. Yeah. Some of the stuff they've got planned and some of the stuff they are trying to do is amazing, but it's all based around, old computers, but utilizing new tech with those old computers to make them functional in
non-fungible
NFT.
It's also a word.
Yeah, it is. Make them functional in the modern age. So I think yes, maybe we are on the dawn of some more interesting stuff like that. I hope so. Raspberry Pis are going from strength to strength as always. I'm sat looking at a Pi 400 in front of me here. There is already a Pi 500 out. I've got back into the Pi 400 lately, been playing around with that. It's a great piece of kit. Love it. Love just messing about with stuff like that. And I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just running stuff other people have invented, and trying to tweak that to what I want to do. But it's all good fun. It's all great. And like I've always said, I get as much fun setting up a main machine as I do firing up a main machine and playing some games. Sometimes, the configuration and understanding this stuff, how it works and comes together, is as much fun as the final product. For me, anyway. The rest of the year, I don't know.
That's how we start restorations of hardware.
Yeah. Big purchases, I just don't know. I don't know if there's any big purchases on the horizon. I'm loving the handhelds at the moment. Steam Deck I mentioned, obviously. Still run the Pandora. The Pandora is it's fantastic piece of kit. Picked up the Ambernic recently, been tweaking that a bit, messing around with that. There's just great handheld options, all dockable. just playing old shit on them, really. Played one or two new games, but really, I'd just get more fun out of the old games, to be honest. Always have, always will. Yeah, just enjoying the hobby for what it is. You know, you take the bits of the hobby that you like and ignore the bits that you don't. Podcast-wise...
And we make fun of the bits we don't.
Yeah, yeah, at every given opportunity, in English or Spanish. Yeah. More of the same from the podcast next year. Dos cerveza, por favor. I only say 2 because I don't know how to say 4. It's got to be a quattro in there or something, hasn't there? Yeah, more of the same. One thing I just reminded me of was I jotted down that possible show title, Robots, before Robots were ready. I've got a list of 100 and something previous possible show titles. I know when we did the CG launch party, and Scott and I read through a list of them in the hotel room and talked about where some of them came from. Be interesting to go back now and see if we can remember where half of them came from. Some of the old possible show titles that we didn't use. Even the ones we did use, where did they come from? But yeah. Anyway, I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us on the final one of 2024. We do this every month. Sometimes there's 2 of us, sometimes there's 3 of us, sometimes there's even 4 of us. Feel free to join us. When I say we, I mean I. Try to post a scheduled video on YouTube. It's in our Discord channel. If you've not yet joined us on Discord, do so. There is a link on our website, retrogamingroundup.com. And you can chat with us in between shows there and keep up with the live news announcements. And that's pretty much it, really. Nothing much more else to say other than thank you for joining us tonight and throughout the year. And we'll see you again next year. Hopefully I'll get a hardware flashback in the next couple of days. And we can release a podcast. Say goodnight, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. And stay safe. Remember that when that was a thing.